the Emo Hour. Your weekly power hour of all things emo and adjacent. With your hosts, Katie and Nani.
Hello and welcome to the Emo Hour. It's your hosts, Katie and Nani. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Nani. How are you today?
I am good, and it is daytime for me, and it's morning for you.
Yeah, it's bright and early, just after 8 a.m. where I'm recording, and it's middle of the afternoon for you.
It sure is, and we're lucky. I haven't had a drink yet.
Oh, okay. Glad to hear that.
You know, when you're in Portugal and you're on holiday with friends, it is traveling with friends, you end up drinking more than traveling solo. And so I've definitely noticed that I've drank a little bit more on this trip than I have on any of the other trips I've taken this year.
That makes total sense. And it's probably good. Like, my first thought was safety reasons. Like, you don't want to be drinking all day when you're traveling solo.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean, you can definitely still indulge, but yeah, you got to be a little more high alert when you're traveling solo.
Senses, put your senses up. Spidey senses.
Don't let your senses fail.
Okay, I almost did a joke about senses fail, and then I was just waiting for you to do something because I don't know maybe it's just because we spend so much time with each other, but we both definitely come up with like similar jokes, or our brains, like the other day, I can't remember what it was, but after the show, you're like, I was about to do the same thing, and you did it.
Yeah, the exact same thing that you did, and that thought had crossed my mind. So,
great minds. Simpatico. Even 7 time zones apart. Simpatico.
7 times. That's true. Yeah, 7 hours. I guess so.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's just get into it since, you want to get back to your day, I'm sure, and I'll get back to mine. But
I need to go back to drinking.
Yeah, or start drinking.
Start drinking, yes.
So what's making you emo this week, Nani?
Well, so this episode is going to be a little bit about my travels and whatnot and whatever questions you may have. I know we're just going to kind of go with the flow here, but there's a lot to talk about, and quite a bit of emo adjacent things have happened on these travels, which has been cool. But what's making me emo are electric cars. Okay. And oh my God, I don't know what to say. So I'm on this trip with our friend Krista, our mutual friend Krista, and Krista and I were in Lisbon, Portugal. They call it Lisboa here. Okay. And we were going from Lisbon to an area that is famous for growing wine called the Douro Valley. And in the Douro Valley, there's a bunch of little towns and whatnot. And so Krista wanted to stop and tootle around in a couple different cities on the way to Douro Valley. Okay. A very normal road trip, right? So I go online, I rent a car. I thought I rented a regular car with like a gas engine car. I shouldn't say regular, but like a gas engine car. Mm-hmm. And then we get there and I realize, oh shoot, I rented an electric car. But I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this electric car thing. Let's have fun with this. This is going to be great. She's never done an electric car. I've never done an electric car. Oh my God, was I fucking wrong? It was the wrong choice. So let me just tell you what happened.
Okay.
So we
I'm
leave.
Nervous.
I know. And this is why it's making me emo. And here's the thing. Electric cars, how amazing is it that we're living in this world that we are, and that we have these things like electric cars and electric buses and electric scooters. What's the world without the bird scooters? Maybe less cluttered. But these these cars are amazing. They have like quick 0 to 60, all the things that we're used to having in a regular gas engine. But if it says 350 kilometers, because everything's in the metric system here, I think that's what it is, metric system. But like, you cannot trust what the distance says in these cars. And I don't know if it's my driving style, which I don't think it is, because I'm very granny and I conserve energy. But we left Lisbon. Our car should have lasted the entire distance, including our stopovers. No, not at all. So the time came, and the way that the interstates here work, or it's not interstate, but the major highways, they operate kind of like the East Coast of the United States does, and where there are these little rest stop gas station, restaurant, convenience store combos that you just pull off. It's kind of like our version of a rest stop out west, but like it's right on the road. So you don't have to exit, go off to a town, find a gas station.
Right.
And so we pull off to recharge the car, and we could not figure out how to make it happen. We spent 2 hours
Oh no.
at this rest stop, gas station area, electric charging area, trying to figure this out. And we're like, why isn't this RFID working? We try paying with a card. You have to pay. You either have to have the actual card that the company supplies or the app, but we couldn't figure out how to make the app work. And it was such a mess. And so I'm like, okay, we've got 75 kilometers left on the car. Why don't we just say, let's cut our losses? Because we've spent so much time here, maybe closer to 3 hours, if I'm being honest. I'm a little embarrassed to say this. It was a day, let me tell you. And then we get to the next town that we wanted to tootle around in. And I love that I'm using the word tootle right now. It's so not me, but Krista's been using that word,
like,
so it's in my vocabulary.
Krista must have been, yeah.
Yeah. And so we get to this town that we are planning on walking around and maybe grabbing a bite. And we park the car at this charging station. And there's not charging stations everywhere, by the way. Like you have to seek them out, and they're not necessarily in the best place to park your car and go walk. So we get to this gas station. The entire time we were at that previous gas station, by the way, I said to her, it could be worse, like it could be raining, it could be this, it could be that. So we get to the next town where we're going to go walk around. And what does it do? It starts raining.
Of course. I'm like, oh, called that one.
And so we finally figure out how to use this stupid app, which now we're freaking experts, but we sit there, we recharge. We're like, you know what? Let's just cut our losses. Let's not plan on going to another town. We're just going to continue on to our hotel in the Douro Valley. So all this to say, and it's kind of lengthy, so I apologize, but we had a transportation day from hell where we didn't accomplish the things that we wanted to do, but we did learn how to use electric vehicles, the charging of electric vehicles. And now if you need somebody who's an expert in doing electric vehicle charging and the apps that exist within Spain and Portugal, I'm your girl.
Well, there you go. Okay.
So
I'm sorry to hear about that saga. And then that just adds stress and frustration to both of you, I'm sure. So hopefully you guys got through it together, because also traveling with friends can sometimes be challenging. And then you run into things like that, which makes, tensions run high and conflict ensues.
No, the good thing that's really nice about traveling with Krista is we're both very easygoing people. And so it's like, sure, like, let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do that. So it's been a really nice partnership in travel. Maybe is that how you would say it? So it's been really fun. But yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more.
You guys are good travel buddies.
Yeah, she's really well traveled, and so that's nice too, because she doesn't feel like she needs to see everything and do everything, which is nice because I don't. She has this saying, or maybe it's her brother, that it's like another. I already used the F word once, but it's like another fucking church, another fucking.
Yeah.
It's just like museum. It's just the name, the same thing over and over again. And after a while, it's like I don't want to see a museum, and I don't feel like going to a church. I know that these are historical artifacts that like people in cities and countries are very proud of, but I don't need to do that.
Does he say the same thing about bars? Another fucking bar.
Another fucking bar. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a little bit different. Like, yeah, churches and museums, not really my cup of tea for the most part, but like,
yeah.
I like to go to a lot of bars.
Same. I like to eat and drink my way through a city and through just like getting the culture of an area. Like coming and visiting Sun Valley to get the culture of the area, I would say like going out and eating and drinking and meeting the people, like that's a really great way to do it, or through activity. And so we've been kind of doing that. It's through activity or doing what the locals do.
Right. And I guess that's different than going to a museum or going to a church because it's a little more interactive than just like going and sightseeing or, touring things. So I can understand that.
Well, what about you? What's making you emo this week?
Today, the day of recording, is 14 years ago today, Travis and I officially started dating as boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh my God.
Which is wild. So it's not like our wedding anniversary because, we're married now. But yeah, we've been like official boyfriend, girlfriend for 14 years.
You're strong teenagers. You're in the teenage years. You're not even a tween. You're a teenager.
We're angsty.
Oh
right
my
now.
God.
We're the 14-year angst.
It's like, I don't want to be around you, Mom.
Yeah. Getting into
Drop me off at the mall. Let me hang with my friends.
Yeah. But I was scrolling my phone this morning and I don't know if you look at your Facebook memories, but I do. So I was looking at my Facebook memories. I also still have Time Hop. Do you have Time Hop?
I don't.
I don't think that that's a thing for most people, but I still have it. I still look at it. But yeah, so a bunch of anniversary posts were popping up mostly from, pre-marriage. And one of the posts was pretty funny because it described how Travis and I made our, define the relationship conversation. Because it was right after we had graduated with our bachelor's degree. So he got his bachelor's degree in architecture. I got mine in political science. And I went up to Coeur d'Alene, which is where he's from, for his graduation party. And we had been seeing each other for a couple months at that point, but we weren't boyfriend, girlfriend.
And you had already met the entire family.
And so that was, the first day I met his immediate family. And then I went up to his graduation party and met extended family, family friends, everything. And we have such a weird story, honestly. Before we went to this graduation party together, he said to me, I think I should just introduce you as my girlfriend because it's going to avoid a lot of questions if I just say, you're my special lady friend is what he likes to say.
Special lady friend.
Yeah. So
he's a special guy.
I was like, okay, sure. Introduce me as your girlfriend, why didn't we just define the relationship then? I have no idea. Because then it was that night after the party, or I think it might have been the next day, actually, after the party, where we just had our define the relationship conversation. And
so it was the same day.
I think it was probably the next day because
I
think we were all drinking at the graduation party. So I don't think it happened that night. I think it was the next day.
He must have watched you intermingle with the family and whatnot and been like, yeah, she's my girlfriend.
Yeah, it must have been. So we both graduated with our bachelors. He knew he was going back that fall for his master's.
Right.
And I wanted to go to law school, but I wasn't planning to go to law school immediately. I was going to take a year and kind of figure it out. So I'm guessing that's why we hadn't called it then, because I was moving back home with my dad basically and didn't know exactly what was going to happen. And he was going to go back to school. But after the party, I think probably our last night, together before I headed back home, I remember, we decided we were going to try it out and be boyfriend, girlfriend. And I remember saying to him, no hard feelings if it doesn't work out. Romance, right?
Oh my God, that is amazing. I have a question. I'm
sure you have a lot of questions.
Yes, but there's one in particular that I'm wondering is on a scale of 1 to alternative or 1 to punk, where were you in your phase of life as it relates to dressing? Were you fully out of the emo phase at that point? Were you looking more, I don't know, normal?
Yeah, I was more country centered than anything, honestly, at that time.
I wasn't sure if I was trying to visualize the version of you because I've seen the different phases of you over the years. And when I graduated, I can't remember when I changed my hair, but I still looked pretty emo through a decent chunk of my college years.
Oh, no, college was pretty country for me, I would say. So I might have been wearing cowboy boots even.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, the skinny jeans never really left my wardrobe. Let's just say that. They have now.
Oh, mine either. Yeah, well, I'm phasing out too.
Who are we?
Millennials. We're trying to get with the times.
I also think a lot of elder emos are living in the world of it's okay to let go of the skinny jeans. It's a whole lot more comfortable.
It is, yeah. And I put on skinny jeans now, and I'm like, this is not great. So. But yeah, I remember saying to him, no hard feelings if it doesn't work out. which is just so funny. But let me just clarify. The purpose of that was because we were like, we had no idea where the future was going to lead for us, and I honestly thought the likelihood of us working out was pretty low given what our next steps in life. But here we are, 14 years later,
years strong,
married with a kid and a dog. So I guess it worked out.
Which we should say, Dallas, your dog, is right there.
She is. She's snoozing in her bed.
You gave me a little visitation with her before we started recording, and that was the best. It's been way too long since I've got to give Dallas a little pet. She doesn't like to cuddle with me necessarily, which I hate, but I will deal with it. But I love her. She's such a good pup.
She's a good dog. Yeah, she's just a little picky and a little weird and anxious. So
yeah, understandable. She's a rescue. So
yeah, I kind of just described myself too. So there you go.
like mother, like doggy.
Exactly. But the reason that you haven't been able to pet Dal for a while is because you've been gallivanting all over the world again.
All over the world. Yeah.
So our topic of the day is a little continuance of Nani's travel diary to Vegas and Portugal. That's my intro for you.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. So I should start off by saying that I believe that this is my last trip, not for the year, but like for this purpose. Cause I think as most of the listeners have learned is I've been doing travels pretty much like most of January, February, March, April, May. So it's been like 5 months of travel, which is something that I've never had in my life.
Yeah.
This is the type of time that I've never had in my life. I realize how fortunate I am to be able to do this, and be able to take this time and travel and do things. Although I am finding that I'm starting to get anxious, which I talked to you about that a little bit before we started taping. And I think the anxiousness just stems from the society that we live in and the type of humans that you and I both are too. Like we're both, I would say, decently high achieving humans that like want to get, you're a lawyer. By the way, I watched this movie called Nona's on Netflix.
Okay.
We're not sponsored by Nona's, but it's a really cute movie. And it came out maybe like last week, and I watched it a handful of days ago because I was trying to go to sleep and I just couldn't, so I turned it on. Anyways, it's a really cute movie and it's a love story, whatever. You know, I love a love story. And in the show, one of the Nona says, well, she's a lawyer. Did you know she's a lawyer? And I'm like, yes, other people do it too. And I was going to film that exact scene and send it to you and be like, guess what, Katie? Other people are proud too.
Other people are proud too.
Hey, I'm proud that you're a lawyer and I'm proud to be your friend and I'm proud to say she's a lawyer.
Oh, is it Vince Vaughn and Susan Sarandon?
Exactly. It's pretty cute. You should watch it.
Yeah, I'll check it out. It's #1 in movies today.
Ooh. Netflix. Ooh, okay. Yeah. So, sorry, I totally digress on that one. But so I started off the trip in Vegas. This was at the beginning of the month. And I went down with one of our mutual friends, Alex Torquemada, who is the best. I probably should not say her last name.
Well, she's an artist, so go check out her art.
Yeah, that's so true. Yes, go check out her art. She's amazing. She's such a talented graphic designer as well. She helped us create our logo, and she did a bunch of stuff for us for the Emo Hour, which we very much appreciate her. Yes. But we went down to Vegas together, and we just wanted some warmth because, as you know, this is the time of year in Sun Valley that it's this in-between season and everything's muddy. And even though it's like spring is right around the corner, there's just these false starts where like you think it's going to happen and then it's snowing, or you think it's going to happen and it's super cold and rainy. So the purpose of going down to Vegas was to see Bob Moses, one of my favorite electronic artists. And she also loves that kind of music. As we've talked about on here, I went from EMO to EDM. Mm-hmm. And Bob Moses is a Canadian group or duo, technically. And they sometimes perform with a full band, but most of the time they perform DJ sets. And when they do a full band, boy, is that a treat. I got to see them do a full band last summer at the Gorge, opening up for Odessa. It was incredible. But they performed at Encore Beach Club. And so we went down and decided to just go have a blast, see a bunch of shows, kind of like what you and I did when we went to go see Miranda about a year ago. We saw quite a few shows. Didn't you and I go see Thunder from Down Under?
Sure did.
Yeah,
After
and we saw
Spice Girls
Spice.
cover band.
Yes, because
Yeah.
it was the same theater, but it was back to back.
Yep. So that's
Epic.
why, because we went to the Spice Girls cover band, and then you were like, "Wait, I think this is where Thunder from Down Under is,"
And
and
then
it was right after.
they like switched out all the posters. It's like we went in and it was Spice Girls, and then yeah, that was such a funny turnover. So we didn't
It
do
was.
Thunder from Down Under, but we did do Magic Mike, and that was like my
Ooh.
fourth time seeing Magic Mike, or maybe third.
Yeah.
And they moved the location. It used to be in the Hard Rock Hotel off Strip, and now it's at the Sahara. It's actually the one at Hard Rock was really amazing, but the one at Sahara, it's really good. Like
Okay.
like better than I remember. And we had amazing seats because where we originally were seated, something was wrong with one of the seats, so they moved us. And they moved us to this couch that was front and center. Oh my God, it was
Ooh.
amazing. So maybe where we were seated also kind of changed the experience for us, but it was so fun.
Did you guys get picked up on stage or anything?
No, it's not like that. It's so orchestrated, but the dancers do come out and like grind on you if you're consenting.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I personally don't love that, but it's
Yeah.
real fun to watch a friend have that happen to them.
So did that happen?
I can't remember. I don't think it did. It happened a
Okay.
lot around us, but we generally were just kind of like in shock and awe the whole
Yeah.
time. It's a beautiful production though, like really good dancing, really like strong talent. It's not like like those shows that have come through our town that are maybe a little less production heavy, more male dancing heavy.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's like acrobatics and all sorts of crazy stuff. There's one act in particular in which it's like a water dancing scene. It's really
cool.
good. So,
Yeah.
it's been in Vegas for quite a while now. Highly
has.
recommend still.
Heard
It's still
of it,
such a
yeah.
good show. So, we're in Vegas and we're staying at the Rio, which I think I told you this. Somebody told me to stay at the Rio and I was like, really? Like, should I stay there? It's pretty cheap, but okay. So we stayed and the last time I was there and this time I was in the refurbished rooms. One of their towers is totally redone. I highly recommend it. It is such a great place to stay because you're just off Strip. The prices are great. The prices of everything in the hotel are great. So you're not feeling ripped off, because that's one of the things that gets old about Vegas is the like $30 juice or whatever you're having.
Yeah.
So they have really fair prices at the Rio, and the experience is great, and the pools are huge, and it's just really lovely. But there's a couple different sections to this hotel. And so there's kind of the older section and the newer section. The older section has you walk into it, has this huge, it kind of looks like an indoor mall. Like there's shops everywhere. There's a stage, there's restaurants, and like the ceiling is probably like 100, 200 feet high, something. It's like a really big area, very expansive. And we're walking over because we want to go up to the rooftop sky bar that they have over there that overlooks the Strip. Also a very, like a great, you should just go for that view. It's beautiful. So we're walking through this area, going to the elevator to take us up to this sky bar. And I hear this voice and I'm like, I know this voice. I know this voice anywhere, but they're doing covers of pop songs.
Yeah.
And I look and I'm like, I think that is the lead singer from The Hire, like the emo band The Hire. And
on a stage, right?
on a stage performing with a cover band, not as The Hire, like
Yeah.
on stage singing, performing. And I don't say anything to Alex because we're on our way up and we wanted to go see the view and catch the sunset because we were like on a tight schedule. So we get up to the top and I can't stop thinking about this. And all I'm hoping is that they're still on stage when we get down to the bottom floor, because I just need to see up close for myself. Like, is this the lead singer of The Hire?
Yeah.
Remind you, The Hire's from Vegas.
Oh,
The lead
okay.
singer is very distinct looking. He has
Yes.
longer hair, like facial features. He's just,
Gingery hair.
yeah, he's just very distinct. Blondie,
Yeah.
like blondish, gingery hair.
Yeah.
And in his motions, like when he sings, I've seen The Hire a few times. I saw them in
Okay.
Providence. I've seen them, I think, at a couple festivals. One of my favorite bands in the emo days. And I probably should have chosen a lyric from them today. I didn't. But We come back downstairs and I'm like, shoot, they're not on stage. So I'm walking, I look to my right and there's a guy that's sitting at a slot machine and I was like, that's him. That's him. I'm like, Alex.
Oh, they weren't on stage, but he was just hanging out? That's
Yes,
funny.
he was just hanging out. So some of the dudes from the band were at the bar and then he was at the slot machine because everybody does the slots in Vegas, right? And so I say to Alex, I'm like, can I go over there and ask him? Like, is that weird if I go and do that? And she's like, yeah, it's kind of weird, but I mean, sure, whatever. And I'm like, I can't not do this because it's going to drive me absolutely crazy. So I go up to him. I'm like, hey, weird question. And I like come around the corner. So I probably startled him, if I'm being honest. And I go up
You're
and
like,
I said,
hey, listen. But it's Vegas. There's lots of weirder things out there.
Exactly. And I say to him, I was like, okay, weird question. Are you by chance the lead singer from The Hire? And he said, yeah. And I said, oh my God, I knew it. I totally knew it. I said, so wait, what are you doing? He's like, well, The Hire doesn't really perform anymore. Like we do shows, like we'll do When We Were Young or a lot of the, like, the types of stuff where we're seeing bands coming out for a set at Warped Tour or a set at When We Were Young or whatever.
Fests.
Yeah, like any of these nostalgia fests, like Riot Fest or whatever. And so he said that they perform from time to time, but generally they're not regularly performing. And he said that he's had this cover band for a long time in the Vegas area because they were a really poppy emo band, which tracks with my tastes.
Right.
And they would even do some covers of pop songs in their set as The Hire. So all of this tracks, like he has this repertoire, and it's probably very lucrative for him, I would imagine. But it was one of those things where I was like, oh my God. So I said to him, I just have to tell you, like, I really loved your band. I've seen you a few times. I told him that I'd seen him in Providence, and he's like, that's awesome. And I asked, I think I might have asked him, like, are you guys planning on any shows soon? And I think he said no, but it was just one of those interactions and chance encounters that I could not believe happened. Like, what are the chances that I saw Kevin Lyman walking through the Phoenix airport, right? What are the chances that it's just these things that happen? And it blew my mind because I was obviously texting you about it too. So
did you get a selfie with him or his phone number or anything?
God, I really should have. I should have been like, do you want to be on the Emo Hour?
I know. I'm surprised you didn't.
Honestly, we could probably ask him. I bet he would do it. He seems really chill and super nice.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was my first little emo encounter on this trip. There's actually I feel like there was a couple that happened. So from Vegas, so then we went to Bob Moses at the Encore Beach Club, which it rained, which was such a bummer, but it was so great for us. So it rained at the beginning. It stopped raining. Not that many people showed up because it's a beach club, and who goes to a beach club during the rain? And they moved it indoors. And Alex and I had the time of our lives. The pools were heated. We hung out. I mean, we're Idaho, so we're used to cold weather. It still felt pretty nice.
Yeah.
And we had a great time at the beach club and then watched the Bob Moses set. They performed for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, I think it was.
Okay.
Had the best time. Now, if you remember when I was in Japan and saw Bob Moses, I had this moment where I was front and center because I was having the time of my life. I was bundled up in a hat and glasses and coat and all that. Right. And I'm just dancing so hard. And I point at him at that set and I'm like, you. And he points back at me and he's like, you. And anyway, so I was like, I need to do something like that again. I sound like such a fangirl, which I am. It's fine.
I was going to ask, did you recreate that moment?
I would have loved to have recreated that moment, but it was such an intimate crowd that like I could have been like, hey, how's it going? It was a very intimate crowd. And
that's cool though.
It was so cool. I feel very fortunate that we were able to have that experience. So I'm like not even kidding. Like between the front of their DJ booth and where we were dancing was maybe 6 feet.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 feet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really great. So there's that app on your phone, where you can do the big text where you can like write something on your phone and make it large. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people do it at DJ sets. But anyways, I created this, which is backwards for you. But I just said,
no, it's not. It says I saw you in Japan.
It says, I saw you in Japan with devil horns. And so, it was a moment for sure. So
do you think they saw it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So I don't know the names of the guys that are in Bob Moses, which is probably a good thing.
Is one
Um,
Bob?
I don't think so. I want to say one of them is the name Jimmy, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. But there's the guy that's taller, and then there's the blonde one. So there's a dark-haired, tall one. They're both pretty tall. They're
Tom Howie and Jimmy Valance
okay.
are their names.
So Tom and Jimmy,
Tom
right?
and Jimmy.
Tom and Jimmy. So Tom the, I think Jimmy's the blonde one.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so then it was Tom. So I showed it to Tom, and oh my God, you love Tom DeLonge. I love Tom from Bob Moses.
Tom
And
Howie.
Tom Howie. I hold this up. I feel like such a fangirl, but whatever. And I hold it up, and he sees it, and he immediately gives me the devil horns back. And he's like, "Awesome!"
Yeah.
So we had like another moment of like, "I'm your fan. This is cool.
Yay.
Yay!"
Awesome. Oh, I'm sure they love that stuff though.
Yeah, especially I think on a day where there weren't a ton of people there because of the weather and because of a beach club during the rain. Again, like nobody goes. Even if you love the band, it would deter so many people, I think.
Yeah.
So we
Especially in Vegas when there's a million other things that you can do.
literally a million. And so we have that moment that I ended up talking their manager who I've met before. I don't remember where though. He was there and I went up to him. I was like, "Are you?" And he said, "I am." I said, "We met like years ago and I can't remember where and I can't remember what, but we have a few friends in common." And so I said hi to him and chatted with him for a few seconds, which was fun. And then I rejoined Alex. We continued dancing and had the best time ever. And then we left. And as we were leaving, we were walking through the casino and guess who walks out?
I have no idea.
Tom and Jimmy.
Okay.
And so
I was going
I
to say
went,
either them or the lead singer, the higher again.
oh my God, yeah. Because we are at the Wynn Hotel for this. So this is Encore
Okay,
Beach
yeah.
Club, is that, or it's at Encore actually, but Wynn Encore, it's same.
Yeah.
And so so I walk up to him and he's talking to somebody else, but I don't know. I guess I was just being me and I was like, "I'm just going to say hi really quick." Because we were on our way, like we were getting to the next thing. And I pop in, I'm like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I just want to say quickly, like that set was so much fun. I really," he interrupted me. He's like, "You're Japan, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, it's me."
Yay. No, that's awesome.
He's like, "That's awesome." And I said, "I just have to tell you, I worked in music for a really long time and I still love it, but I needed a little bit of time to kind of fall back in love with music. And because when you work in it, it's a very different thing. Working in a field of passion, sometimes it loses its luster, and it had for me. And so I told him, I said, I've been falling back in love with music, and your band is one of the main reasons that I've fallen back in love with music." And he's like, "That
Aw.
is so cool." And
Yeah,
so
I'm sure they'd love to hear that.
yeah, and then and I was like, "Hope to see you guys again soon," and we just went on our way. So it was really fun.
Yeah. I mean, you've now seen them at the Gorge and in Japan and in Vegas, right? Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, those are some great experiences.
Right? I'm so glad that I ended up doing that little detour in Japan. Anyway, so then from Vegas, I was so proud of myself. I totally did the points guy type thing where I point smith the system and figured out how to go from Vegas to San Francisco to Boston, Boston to Lisbon, all on points. So my ticket technically cost me about $40, which was amazing. Very proud. So I went Southwest, and then the rest of it was on Delta. And I have status on Delta just because I travel a decent amount and I stay loyal. And so I got upgraded too, which was really nice.
Real nice for a long trip, for
Yeah,
sure.
really, really nice. So made it to Lisbon and walked into the hotel, and there was Krista. And so we started our trip in Lisbon. And Lisbon is such a beautiful city. I've been here before with friends about 6 years ago. We did Lisbon, and then we did Spain. We've done quite a bit more than what I did last time, so it's been nice. So we were in Lisbon. It's a city right on the water, and it is, I would say, kind of similar to like a San Francisco type energy where you're on the water. It's just a little bit more tropical. And then we spent 4 or 5 days putzing around Lisbon. We went into one store that is like one of the most famous designers, if not the most famous designer from Portugal. And Krista fell in love with her clothing, ended up buying a bunch of her clothing, made best friends, and then I naturally helped myself to like the back room where there's a bunch of clothes. I'm like, wait, you have to try this on and try this on. We were there for
Oh.
maybe like 6 hours.
Whoa.
It was actually pretty crazy. Like it was pretty
That's
crazy.
that's kind of insane.
Yes, it absolutely was. But it was so fun because I love, you know this, like I had the swimsuit line. I love clothing. I had the clothing line. I love seeing how people create, and just the creative mind is such a beautiful thing. And so seeing all of her designs, what was so special about her is that her name is Lydia Kolovrak. I think that's how you pronounce it. And Lydia's clothing, it spans such a huge range that you might see something that's black and white and kind of gothic, all the way down to something cheery, fringy, sparkly. Like it ran the whole gamut. So it was really fun, and I was just kind of playing dress up Barbie on Krista. So I was in heaven and Krista was in heaven. And of course
Yeah.
the designer's in heaven because she's, selling some awesome pieces
And
to
it was the designer was actually at the store too.
yeah, she ended up
Okay.
she invited because Krista's going to be here longer. She invited Krista to her runway show, which is
Oh,
next
hell
week.
yeah.
Yeah, so she's going to go
Awesome.
back and actually go to the runway show because they have their design week in Portugal is next week.
Wow.
I
That's
know, right?
cool.
So cool. So Lisbon's really fun. It's a beautiful city, very historic city. The rooftops are magnificent. Any rooftop that you can get on, it's just seeing. They weren't involved in any of the world wars, is my understanding. So they didn't have to do any rebuilding. Because of that, their buildings are intact and their history is intact, and it's really beautiful here. The really famous tiles that are like blue and white are everywhere. The streets are cobblestone. Everything's ornate, and the people here are so kind, like so kind.
Great.
The only thing that's weird is they speak English a lot here, so it doesn't totally feel like you're in a foreign country because you can easily use English, and that's the common. I mean, English is the common language already, but it's just very English heavy here. So
Yeah, I felt that when we went to Puerto Vallarta this year. I was like,
yeah,
I didn't even really feel like I tried to speak Spanish, which I usually try a little, I'm not good at it, but I usually try. And PV, I just was like, no need really.
no need. Yeah, which is it's great, but it's also like, but wait, we're in
Yeah.
another country. Like, let's immerse ourselves. So
Yeah.
I've been learning some Portuguese words. The Portuguese language, there's two different types. There's Portuguese, which is like what you'd speak in Portugal, or there's Brazilian Portuguese. Because Portugal, I'm going to get that because I'm not great with history, but essentially, like, I guess way back in the day, the Pope gave Spain one area and gave Portugal one area to like go conquer. And anyways, they have like that's where the connection between Brazil and Portugal is they went and conquered Brazil. Anyways, the languages are kind of like if English in the UK is proper English, and then the English in the United States, like we're more relaxed with our version of English than they are in the UK. It would be the same with Portugal and Brazil. So Portugal is more of the proper version of Portuguese language, and Brazil is much more relaxed. And it tends to be a little bit more romantic and a little bit more Spanish leaning in my brain, at least. So there's a lot of similarities between Spanish and Portuguese, but not enough to where I can speak. So, but I can
Right.
understand a decent chunk, which is kind of cool.
Right.
So we were in Lisbon, and then we took that really beautiful road trip that I told you about in
Yeah.
that electric car, and we popped into a couple towns, but not like we were planning on. And then we got to the Douro Valley, which is a famous area that is wine country. Think sprawling mountainous regions of terraced wine farms.
Beautiful. Yeah, you sent me some pictures of that and it was gorgeous.
It is like it's so amazing. You would love it so much, Katie.
Sounds like anybody would.
So it's just stunning. And the prices here are so fair. Like obviously if you go to touristy places, it's going to be more expensive. But for the most part, a glass of wine is anywhere from like $3.50 to $6.
That's amazing. And I
I
wonder,
know.
like, when I was in Italy, just the house wine in Italy everywhere is just so good. Portugal's probably the same. And it also doesn't hit you as bad as it
I
does in
agree.
America. And, like, you're not, like, I don't know, something about sulfites or sugar or something. I don't know what it is, but
So, I'm with you.
it's just like it's better to drink wine in foreign countries.
I so agree. And the Vino Verde is one of the wines that they're really famous for here, the green wine. So I drink a
Okay.
ton of Vino Verde and a ton of port wine when I'm here because those are the two that they're very famous for. They also do red and whites and
Never
rosés.
even heard of green wine before.
Oh, you would love it. It's what we would call a porch pounder, you know?
Okay, yeah,
It's just so good, really easy drinking. It's kind of like a table wine in Italy. They're just really bright light, kind of fruity, and it's not sweet though, but like a little fruity and really easy drinking and awesome on a hot day. So
right.
we went to the Douro Valley. We toured a couple of different wineries. We went on a train ride. We went on a boat ride. We had some amazing meals. We met some incredible people. We met a therapist. Oh my God, I totally forgot to say though, when we were in Lisbon, sorry to go back, but I have to share. There was this couple that walked by, and one of them was wearing this Laura Jane Grace shirt, which
Yeah.
Laura Jane Grace. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, you mentioned this to me already. I am vaguely familiar too.
So, Laura Jane Grace famously transitioned and is a singer songwriter and was in the band Against Me and emo. Obviously, this is why we're bringing it back to it. But it was just so cool because when Laura Jane transitioned, the headlines were everywhere. I think it was very accepted, but it was also very taboo in the sense that these stories weren't coming up all that often. And so it was a very big story, even if you weren't in the emo world or in the alternative world. And it was so awesome to see. And so anyways, this couple, one was wearing a Laura Jane Grace shirt, and I immediately was like, oh my God, you know Laura Jane Grace? Or like, you like. And we ended up talking for a while. Super cool couple from the East Coast, big fans of Against Me, big fans of Laura Jane Grace. And it just was so cool because when you have those moments of connecting with people from back in the States, but specifically around music that you like or around something that you feel really passionate about, it was just really cool. And so, yeah, that happened in Lisbon though. And then we ended up seeing the same couple later at another, like in this really famous, beautiful big park that has these kind of iconic hedges that run the entire length of, like, you can look down the hill and it's all the way to the ocean. It's really beautiful. So it was funny that we ran into him twice, but the world is so small, Katie. It just gets me every time.
It is 100%, yes. And the more you travel and the more you experience how big the world is, the more you also experience how small it is.
It is so true.
And the human experience.
The human experience. Okay, I'm gonna speed this up because I don't want it to take forever. But so we're in the Douro Valley and we're having just like the most amazing time touring wineries and having all these experiences. And we go to one specific winery called HO Winery. It was the best wine tour I have ever had in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
Not even a question. So this guy, Cliff, was our tour guide. He was amazing. He was so full of knowledge. He grew up in Portugal, went to the States with his parents, went to school in the States. So he speaks really good English. And then he moved back pre-COVID to Portugal. And has been there for a while, was just kind of explaining life here and how things are. And like, he was like, I have no worries beyond what am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? And I'm like, oh my God, I need to find some of that balance in my life.
Yeah.
Because that just sounds so pleasant.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think he was older, right?
no, he's 35, 33.
Okay. Wow.
He's our
I'm actually
age-ish.
surprised to hear. Yeah. So I was going to say, I think that tends to happen as you age, is like just less complicated things in your life.
Yeah, for sure. And the one thing that he did say is he kept being like, I'm a 95-year-old man in a 30-year-old man's body. And I'm like, okay.
That's why I guessed he was old.
Yeah, totally. So he gave us the tour. He toured us through the actual facility and answered so many questions about cork, because so much cork, like the majority, I don't know how big of a percentage of the cork supply comes to the world from Portugal, but they are famously known for their cork here.
Okay.
and their cork trees. And so he answered so many questions about corks and about port wine and about wineries and types of wines in general in Portugal. And then obviously talked to us about his winery, which is one of like the premier wineries in the entire region. And they won Port Wine of the Year this year with their really amazing port that they have. So that was super cool. But I asked him, I said, who's the most famous person you've had at this winery? And he said, well, like 2 weeks ago, I had the drummer from Black Sabbath. I'm like, wait, what?
Okay, all right.
So that was his answer. I
That's
thought that was
funny.
pretty funny. But yeah, so we did wine in the Douro area, and then we went through this little town on the way over to Porto where we are now, and it was like the Sun Valley equivalent in Portugal, and we had the most amazing experience there. And we've just been doing a lot of putzing around and road tripping around Portugal. Now we're in Porto. Back in the day when they used to make the wine up in the Douro Valley, they'd send the wine down the river and it would arrive here in Porto, and they'd store this port wine in their facilities on the river here, and then they would export it up to Britain. And the UK was like the number one consumers of port in the world, and they might still be the number one consumers. I'm not sure. But the reason why it was so popular is this tawny port. It's because it never got old, and it was super high in alcohol content too.
Right.
So by the time it got there, like it would be even better. So we're going to tour a couple of the port warehouses here, or probably just one because we don't want to do too much of it. And we're here for a few more days, and then we go off to Morocco, which is going to be fun for a couple days. And then I'll make my way back to the States, and I'll be back there before you know it. I'm just a few days away.
Yeah. Wild. I feel like you're going to be a sommelier by the end of this.
Oh my God. Well, I already love port. You know this about me, but that was for my last trip to Porto. So I'll be curious to see how I feel about it after this trip, because I think I'm only falling more in love with it, and I'm discovering different varieties of port and enjoying those different varieties too. Do you like port?
I don't love it. But yeah, I'll have it here and there.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty limited on port. It's just a little too like heavy for me, I guess.
Some of it can be a little like syrupy, some of it can be decently sweet. But the different varieties that they have here, you just can't get in the States. So I'm like, yeah, bring it on. I'll take some more port. Bring me another glass.
Yeah, Travis loves port, so he would love it.
I bought some, and we're shipping it home, and so both of you will have to be part of the tasting, so you can enjoy some. But
We'll have to do another long format dinner, and you can bring some cool port.
Oh my God, that would be so fun.
Yeah.
That would be so fun. So yeah, that's
Whenever you decide that you want to stay in Sun Valley for longer than 3 days.
I know. Well, it's happening. It's happening in like a week. I will be there. And I'm not going anywhere once I get back. So, and I'm really looking
say
forward
that
to
now.
it. I know. I'm really looking forward to it, though. I'm ready to get back into the swing of things. I'm ready to start, figuring out my next phase of life. I kind of put everything on hold for a little while and allowed myself to go do this, because
As you totally should.
Yeah, when do we have this ability to do this in our life? And it's one thing that Krista and I have talked about numerous times throughout these travels is the older you get, the less ability you have to explore places. And a place like Lisbon or Porto, they are hilly. You're walking uphill, downhill constantly, cobblestone streets, uneven streets. It's just not a place for older people in general. It's a younger person's traveling location.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful that I don't have any issues and can explore until, my feet want to die, which hasn't happened. So this is a good time to be doing it. I met somebody the other day, and they asked me, we were at the timeout market in Lisbon, and he said to me, he's like, "Are you a millennial?" And I said, "I am." And he said, "I knew it." He's like, "There's a lot of you millennials doing this thing right now." I'm like, "What does that mean, sir?"
What does that mean? Well, maybe we're like early midlife crisis time.
Probably. I think that might be it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the trip has been so fun, and the company has been awesome, and we've had a great time, with the exception of that dumb electric car. Electric cars have to come a little further with their distance. That's my only qualm. I probably won't rent another electric car for a little while because of my experience, but
Fair enough. Fair
we
enough.
made it
Can I
through.
yeah. Can I just say midlife crisis though is kind of, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's more of just like a readjusting your priorities. Like if what you're doing is traveling, I don't know. Maybe that's something to talk about at a different time. But
I think we should. I think we should talk about midlife crises and or kind of redirecting your life or whatever you might call it. But I think we have these points in our life that open things up for us and make us think about things again. And when those happen, I think we're also a generation in which we talk about our stuff more often with friends and talk about like than our older generations do. I also think that these midlife crises, because we don't have any other term to call it, we're just going to call it that, are happening younger for us because the world is also getting bigger. It's a very different world than faster. Yeah, it's happening younger for sure. And I wonder what it means for people who are even younger than us because but we should almost have your mom back on again and talk about, you know, the mental end of life and all the things that we go through as humans because we are complex creatures.
we sure are.
And you know I'm even more complex with my just my self-critical nature. I'll call that stuff out. The more you call that stuff out, the more you realize you have in common with people too.
Oh, absolutely. Again, human experience.
Human experience.
Well, thank you so much for sharing about all your travels. I mean, I'm very glad that you're doing all of this. And like we've both kind of commented, you know, a lot of people just don't have the opportunity to do something like this. And so I think it's great that you've taken advantage of it in this phase of your life. And also just in terms of like the season that it's been, like literally the weather, I mean, like you're going to be coming back and hanging out in Sun Valley when it's going to be like nice and summery. So like the timing is going to be perfect for that too.
Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Cannot wait to hang out with you though. It's been way too long since we've had hang time and I miss you. So
I know you were texting me that and I was like, I think she's getting a little homesick. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but
do you miss me?
Yes, I miss you.
I almost started singing. I miss you. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, we got to see Tom DeLonge. I wonder if he's going to be around this summer.
I know. Oh, I was also in Lisbon at this independent makers market. There was a bar that was blaring I Miss You by Blink-182. And I started to take a video of it. And I was like, oh, it's just not going to have the same impact if I send her a video of this as it is on me in this moment in Lisbon. But yeah. So good. Well, should we get to emo lyric of the day?
We should. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Well, because of my track record, I think I should probably go first because mine's historically probably going to be worse than yours.
Well, okay. I love the confidence.
So much confidence. Okay. So mine is from Gatsby's American Dream.
Ooh, okay. I'm excited.
Did you ever listen to them very much? I can't remember.
Yeah, a fair amount. I would say so.
I love them. Seattle band. So great. But their song called The Guilt Engine.
Okay.
And the lyric goes, my shame is cold like a grave, but my lust is hot like an engine.
Ooh, saucy.
Saucy. I know. I loved that lyric and I needed to make that my lyric of the day.
I like it. I think that's good. Do you want to say it one more time?
Sure.
I feel like we usually say it twice.
Yeah, that's true. So the lyric goes, my shame is cold like a grave, but my lust is hot like an engine. I know, right?
I like that one. I think that's a good one.
I thought it was pretty good.
And what's the name of that song again?
The Guilt Engine.
Okay. I'm curious when that came out because part of the reason why I got excited when you said it was Gatsby's American Dream is I kind of picked a throwback today too. And Gatsby's American Dream feels like a big throwback to me too. So that song was released in 2005, 20 years ago.
Okay. Can we just talk about this? Okay. Well, next week's episode is going to be the May news. And there's so much May news to talk about as well because all of these 20-year things, it's just making my brain explode.
or 25. So I picked I usually try to pick a song that's kind of on theme, but today I just picked a throwback song. And
Ooh.
did you listen to Matchbook Romance much?
I probably would recognize it if I heard it, but I don't know.
They're so good and so underrated, I think. And Gatsby's American Dream, I think, is probably also underrated, honestly, in my opinion.
So agree. Like, I wish they would have been way bigger. They should have been way bigger than they were.
Yeah. Like, their album was called Volcano, that song the Guilt Engine was on the album Volcano that came out in 2005. And that's such a good album.
Yeah.
So Matchbook Romance has the album is Stories and Alibis, came out in 2003, but this is like, it's a no skip album. That's what they say nowadays, right? But it's just so good. And I think all the songs are good, but I was listening to it, and this song called The Greatest Fall of All Time is maybe the best, but all the songs are so great. And if you're looking for a good emo throwback album, just listen to Stories and Alibis by Matchbook Romance.
You're literally talking me into it as we speak. I feel like I need to go listen to this record.
Yeah. When you head back to the streets of Portugal, maybe you should just put your AirPods in and check it out.
Yeah.
So the lyric I chose from this song, we'll see what you think of it, but the lyric is, "We made promises we couldn't keep, and every night we couldn't sleep."
Okay, say that again.
We made promises we couldn't keep, and every night we couldn't sleep.
I think I won this week. I'm sorry. It's a great lyric, but I just got excited because I think I actually won.
No, that's fair. You picked a good one.
Oh my God. It's like for every 6 that you have, I win 1. And when I get it, I feel so proud. That is a great lyric, though, I will say. Like, that's a great lyric. And I need to you're right. I need to turn that on when I walk out of here and listen to it, because it's been 22 years for that record.
22 years, but it's a no skip, man. There's lots of other songs I could have chosen, or even lyrics, but I just was like, I don't know. I liked the short and succinctness of that one.
Yeah, I really put my Katie hat on when I was choosing this lyric, and I was like, shorter the better, shorter the better, shorter the better. But
you did great.
Did you ever get to see Matchbook Romance in person?
I don't think so. Not that I remember.
I have this weird feeling that I might have seen them at Bamboozle one year, like back in 2007 or 2008, something like that.
It's very possible. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned. Next week is going to be May Emo News, and maybe we'll record in person together.
Yes, we absolutely will. And I'm just going to officially say that I did win Emo Lyric of the Week.
You did.
And I'm so proud.
Congratulations.
This is very embarrassing that I am having this reaction, but I do feel very excited for myself.
No, I'm excited for you. Anything else to say?
No. We'll see you next week. Happy Hump Day, as we always say. And until then, I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Emo Hour.
God, you're always so good at that. Get after it, Katie. It's right there.
This takes me back.
You're so good.
Shoosh is a big fan.
And they also had like some piano in there too. So good. All right, we'll see you next week.